Coming up on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, it's Destination Sao Paulo. We pay a visit to the city's most popular museum, dedicated, of course, to football. And meet the World Cup winner who's gone back to his roots to offer children a helping hand. But we begin in Japan, where in December, Santos from the state of Sao Paulo were representing South America in the FIFA Club World Cup, having been crowned continental champions earlier in the year. It was a competition they were keen to win.
It's very important because it would make history for Santos. As players, we want to be a part of that. We want to write our names into the history books at Santos. That's why this competition is so important.
In the semi-final, a Neymar-inspired Santos swept aside Japanese champions Kashiwa Reysol. After Neymar's stunning opener, Borges curled home a spectacular second goal for Santos, who would go on to win the game 3-1. Four days later, in Yokohama, the venue for Brazil's World Cup triumph over Germany in 2002, Santos faced European champions Barcelona in the final. An intriguing matchup in more ways than one. Twice winners of the Intercontinental Cup, the forerunner to this competition, Santos were outclassed by Barca and Argentina's Lionel Messi in particular. "1-0 became 2-0 on 24 minutes as Xavi Hernandez drilled in a second. Cesc Fabregas extended Barcelona's lead before Messi, who's since been crowned FIFA's World Player of the Year for a third time, showed great composure to score his second goal in a comprehensive 4-0 victory for Pep Guardiola's all-conquering team. Disappointment for Santos, whose next target is to win a third straight state championship in Sao Paulo. Welcome to the largest city in South America, the largest in the Southern Hemisphere. Sao Paulo is home to more than 10 million people, many of whom are descendants of the European migrants who began arriving in the late 19th century. Today, Sampa, as the locals call it, remains the most ethnically diverse city in Brazil. Sao Paulo is Brazil's financial capital, the engine room of the country's burgeoning economy, which is now the 6th largest in the world. The country's stock exchange is here, and so too are many of Brazil's cash-rich middle class. As hard as they toil, they can't work 24/7. Come the weekend, if they're not at the football supporting one of the city's 3 top-flight clubs, the Paulistanos can often be found at Ibirapuera Park. The green oasis in this concrete jungle is one of the largest city parks in Latin America.
People come here to have fun, enjoy themselves and relax a little. This park is important to Sao Paulo and it's a point of reference throughout Brazil.
Ibirapuera Park is one of the few places where people are able to relax, unwind and exercise. It's a place where we can escape from the mad daily routine that we have here.
That daily routine can often involve a traffic jam or two. Congestion is commonplace, as are the skyscrapers, good restaurants, impressive landmarks and helicopters. We couldn't find one, but the city allegedly boasts the largest fleet of helicopters anywhere in the world. At least 10 different teams will contest the 6 matches in Sampa during the 2014 World Cup, and the many thousands of visitors to the city are unlikely to be short of things to see and do. But don't just take our word for it.
Sao Paulo has many good things to offer. Anything you might ever need can easily be found within 100 meters. Absolutely anything. It could be a restaurant, a cinema, a shopping center, anything. Whatever you need, it's almost certain you can find it within 400 square meters here in Sao Paulo.
Witnessing a World Cup on your own doorstep is an experience to cherish. Seeing two is a rare privilege. Orlando Duarte was just 18 years of age when the fourth World Cup was staged in Brazil in 1950. In his capacity as a journalist, he saw all of the games that were played here in Sao Paulo's Estádio do Pacaembu.
For a young guy from the countryside, to watch a World Cup was something wonderful. We shared much of the tournament with Rio de Janeiro. Rio was the main venue, and it hosted the opening game and the final match. But Sao Paulo was still very important to the 1950 World Cup. Very important.
In 1950, Sao Paulo was a much quieter, less congested city in which to host 6 matches at the FIFA World Cup. Of the 7 teams that played here, Brazil and the defending champions, Italy, enjoyed the most support.
When I went to watch Italy play Sweden at Pacaembu, I was enchanted. The stadium was full because Sao Paulo had many residents of Italian descent, but the Swedish team surprised us with its quick and beautiful football.
Not only did they surprise the gentlemen of the press, they also caught the Azzurri off guard. Goals from Jeppsson and Andersson had the Swedes 2-1 to the good at half-time. Jeppsson scored a second after the break, and although Muccinelli reduced the deficit to 3-2 soon after, Italy couldn't find an equaliser and were soon on their way back to Europe.
Then Brazil-Switzerland.
Having seen his team defeat Mexico in their opening game, Brazil's coach Flavio Costa decided to make several changes for the match against Switzerland, who'd lost heavily to Yugoslavia 3 days earlier. In front of 42,000 fans, Brazil raced into an early lead when Alfredo, one of Costa's many changes, unleashed an unstoppable shot. Faton soon equalised for Switzerland, but Brazil restored their advantage before the break with a towering header from Baltazar. There's no record of Faton's second, but it secured a 2-2 draw for the Swiss. As for Brazil, the result and team selection baffled an entire nation.
The 2-2 draw surprised everyone. The coach, Flavio Costa, fielded a team from Sao Paulo with Rui, Bauer and Noronha. He picked a team from Sao Paulo and it didn't work.
Duarte's memory has faded little in the 6 decades that have followed, and he's hopeful that Brazil will fare better in 2014 than they ultimately did back in 1950. This time around, the host nation will play the tournament's opening game in Sao Paulo, but not at the Pacaembu. Instead, the first venue to be used at the 20th FIFA World Cup will be the Itaquerão, which is destined to be Corinthians' new home. This impressive arena will boast a capacity of 68,000, but only for the games that will be played here during the tournament.
Corinthians wanted a stadium with 48,000 seats, but in order for the venue to be able to host the World Cup's opening match, we had to increase the capacity. So 20,000 temporary seats will be installed for the World Cup and then removed afterwards.
Work began here far later than at many of the other 11 stadia, but 6 months of intense activity have paid handsome dividends. By December of last year, 68% of the land had been levelled, and the first beams and pillars that will support the east stand were being fixed in position. It's thirsty work, particularly in the summer months, but being a part of history means a great deal to many of these workers.
It's hard to put my feelings into words, because I'm a huge fan of Corinthians, and I'm working for the company that's building Corinthians' new stadium, a venue that will stage the World Cup's opening game. In the future, my children will come here and say that this place, this stadium, was built by my father, together with the people from Odebrecht. I'm excited to see the finished product. I really want to see it ready. I think it will look amazing.
Almost a decade has elapsed since Brazil secured its 5th and most recent World Cup triumph. 2 goals from Ronaldo against Germany and Japan enabled Cafu to lift the trophy. And on the captain's shirt, a hastily scribbled dedication to Jardim Irene, a place he holds dear.
Today I could be relaxing at home, drinking my guaraná, having a barbecue and sitting by the pool. But I lived here in this neighborhood for 22 years. I spent my whole childhood in Jardim Irene. I know that there are lots of good people here. There are many very bright, intelligent people who simply don't get an opportunity. And if we don't give these kids an opportunity, they'll turn to crime or fall into prostitution. They'll become unwelcome in society.
With that thought uppermost in his mind, Cafu decided to set up a foundation in Jardim Irene. It first opened its doors to 50 local children in 2004, and 7 years on, as many as 750 3 to 18-year-olds spend time here on a regular basis.
When people talk about the Cafu Foundation, the first thing that comes to mind is a football pitch or a football academy. But that's not the case. Our focus, our main mission, is social inclusion. We want to transform these children, not into footballers, but into citizens of the world. We have vocational courses, capoeira classes, we have English lessons, graffiti lessons where children can paint. We have a hairdressing course, arts and crafts. The foundation is very broad.
Whilst attendance at the foundation is open to all, the children must also go to school. No school, no foundation. And like school, the kids can't simply pick and choose their days. Once they enroll, they're required to attend on each and every school day. It may sound draconian, but life at the foundation is anything but.
We let the children choose. They visit the classes and decide what they like. Some enjoy drawing, others prefer to be more active, perhaps playing volleyball or basketball.
The choice is always theirs. It's never a decision imposed by the teachers. It's usually a skill they already have. All we do is help them improve.
As we shall see in the coming months, Cafu is not the only Brazilian footballer to have shared the fruits of his labour with those a little less fortunate. With his career now over, though, gone are the days when he could finance the project himself. His passion and goodwill now need the support of private investors, and they could do a lot worse than support this worthwhile cause.
Sao Paulo is a thriving place, but every big city has its drawbacks, a darker side that nobody sees. In this case, it's poverty and social inequality, and that's what the Cafu Foundation is fighting against. I don't want the children from the foundation to have a helicopter, a limousine or a boat. I simply want them to have the same rights as all the other children that have more money than they do.
Runners-up in 1950, Brazil has since gone on to lift the World Cup on 5 occasions. Many great players have represented the Seleção, but which of them would make the best 11 of all time? Here with his selection is Sao Paulo state native Roberto Carlos.
My favourite goalkeeper is Tafarel, because he was the best of all time. My right back is Cafu. As well as being a captain, he's done a lot for Brazilian football on and off the pitch. My first central defender would be Moser, because he was a phenomenal player. Alongside him would be Ricardo Gomes. He was a great player. But there's also Aldair. The left back would be Branco. Then I would have Mauro Silva and Dunga as the 2 central midfielders. They were both fantastic. Then there's Mazinho, a player with spectacular qualities. And Zinho on the left, or maybe Rivaldo. Up front, Ronaldo. For me, Ronaldo is the best player of all time. And Bebeto. Bebeto has done a lot for Brazilian football. We also have Romario, but that's my first 11. Tafarel, Cafu, Moser, Aldair and Branco. Mauro Silva, Dunga, Mazinho and Zinho. Ronaldo and Bebeto.
A museum visit may not be a priority for many of the fans visiting Sao Paulo during the 2014 World Cup, but at the Praça Charles Miller, within the Estádio do Pacaembu, there's an installation that's worth a visit. The Museu do Futebol pays homage to a game that was first brought to Brazil by Charles Miller in 1894. A Sao Paulo native who was educated in England, Miller was later a key figure in the creation of the Campeonato Paulista, or State Championship, and inspired his own club to victory in the first 3 editions. His story and the many others that are told here have proved hugely popular with many visitors since the museum opened its doors in 2008.
There were already many football memorials focused on football, but there'd never been a museum that treated football as a social or cultural phenomenon. This is the first museum that works with football as a cultural phenomenon. It sees football as the identity of the people, or as a component that forms the Brazilian identity. I think the museum speaks about Brazil, about the Brazilian people, our culture, our psyche, and how we like to play the game. But most of all, it talks about our passion, about how Brazilians not only pack the stadiums, but also create a party atmosphere, make football a religion, a reason to live.
This being Brazil, the World Cup enjoys pride of place in the museum, and visitors can relive the many highs and occasional lows that the 2014 hosts have experienced in their 19 appearances on the game's greatest stage. On average, some 1,500 people pass through these rooms each day, making this one of Brazil's most popular museums. And key to its success is the interaction it promotes between the exhibits and the paying public.
When visitors arrive at the museum, they pass through several rooms, and those rooms involve them somehow, by telling them stories, involving them emotionally, or giving them fun things to do. Technology was introduced to the exhibitions in order to make the visitors feel a part of the whole experience, to make them active participants. We don't distance them from the exhibits. Not here.
And among those to have experienced what the museum has to offer is one of Brazil's most popular politicians of recent times.
It's very interesting because it amalgamates football and Brazil. Football is an integral part of Brazil. It's not just a sport, it's part of our culture.
I would like to invite everyone watching this to come to Brazil, to get to know this country and its wonderful people. Come to the Football Museum and experience the emotion of entering a stadium in a different, more exciting way.
Match day at Pacaembu can be an unforgettable experience, particularly when Corinthians are closing in on Brazil's national championship. Corinthians is Sao Paulo's best supported club, and Gaviões da Fiel, or Hawks of the Faithful, is its most influential supporters group.
Gaviões was founded in 1969 with the aim of ousting the president of the club, who was seen as a dictator. So that's how it all began for Gaviões, fighting for a better Corinthians, for the rights of the fans, all the associates and members, for our right to have good and able people leading the club.
They can be very demanding. When the team's not doing well, they come and make demands.
They organise meetings and speak to the players directly. But when a player runs for the team, sweats for the team and shows commitment to the club, they're the ones who support you the most.
The players enjoyed the support of the Hawks throughout most of 2011, not least because a fifth national championship seemed well within their grasp as the season neared its conclusion. Not since 2005 had Corinthians won the title, and ending that drought for a club of its stature would stand the players in good stead.
Winning a championship with Corinthians means writing history, making your mark on time, becoming eternal within the history of the club. Whenever you walk the streets, even in 10 years' time, people will still thank you for what you've done for the club.
And in late November, it wasn't only the players who had silverware on their minds. For the Hawks of the Faithful, the climax of the national championship always coincides with their preparations for Carnival.
The passions of every Brazilian are football and samba. Brazilians are known for being emotional, welcoming and happy. That is what the Brazilian citizens really represent, this joy. Here, we mix both football and carnival.
The Hawks of the Faithful is one of 3 supporters groups in the city that has an affiliation with a samba school. Every year during Carnival, Sao Paulo's top schools compete for a championship trophy in front of 30,000 spectators at the Sambadrome, an outdoor parade ground designed by Oscar Niemeyer. The Hawks have won the championship in the top division on 4 occasions. This year, their parade will pay homage to Brazil's former president, Lula, himself a Corinthians fan.
Nowadays, everyone looks up to us. In the 90s, Gaviões da Fiel became a reference in terms of luxury. And that created great expectations in relation to our parades. Everyone expects a lot from us, not only the samba schools linked to other supporters groups, but also traditional samba schools. Every time Corinthians does well, Gaviões does well too. Our expectation is to win the title in the 2 categories this year, both at Carnival and on the football pitch.
Founded by the working classes in 1910, Corinthians remains a club of the masses, with an estimated 30 million fans worldwide. 35,000 of those supporters packed Pacaembu for their penultimate home game of the 2011 season against Atlético Mineiro, who surprisingly found themselves 1-0 ahead early in the second half. The game changed though on 66 minutes with the introduction of former Brazil international Adriano. The Emperor, as he's been dubbed, was playing only his 5th game in 8 injury-ravaged months, but was soon involved in creating a chance for his strike partner, the Edson. The Portugal international, enjoying his 2nd spell with Corinthians, was presented with another chance soon after. Then, with just 2 minutes of the 90 remaining, Adriano whipped the crowd into a frenzy by calmly scoring the winner. It was his first competitive goal in 18 months, and it edged Corinthians ever closer to that 5th national title.
We didn't win a title for 23 years, but the fans never stopped going to the games. For us, our love for Corinthians goes way beyond winning silverware. It's very hard to put into words. However, winning the championship would be amazing. It would be an honour for us, and God willing, that dream will come true next Sunday.
A fortnight later, on the season's final day, the championship was secured. But it was a bittersweet moment for Corinthians, following the death earlier in the day of the club's former captain, Socrates. A life of a champion and a 5th national title was celebrated on the terraces. And in February, the Hawks of the Faithful will look to secure a 5th championship of their own in the colourful surroundings of the Sambadrome. Next time on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we head south to Porto Alegre. we meet Aldir Garcia Schley, the brains behind world football's most famous kit. And visit Citizen Sports Club, the brainchild of another World Cup winning captain, Dunga. Until then, goodbye.